Insurance LLC, 100 from Stein Tire, 500 from H&S Metals, all of that for Southwood High School's prom.
Appreciate the donations.
Second. Is that a motion to accept
Yes,
that?
a good motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept the generous donations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. School recognition.
Okay, we'll go ahead and begin. We'll do it in order as listed on our agenda. So Mr. Boone, you're up.
Thanks for having me on behalf of Southwood Elementary this evening. And I think I'll try to go from memory again, Mr. Keyfaber. I think there were 4 recognitions that I put on our list. Just a couple, let's see, last week we had 2 students that represented Southwood Elementary at the Kiwanis and Journal Gazette Spelling Bees. It's an annual thing, 5th and 6th graders. And 5th grade, Tristan Nickham was our representative. And then in 6th grade, McKenna Hunter was our representative. McKenna was the overall winner for 6th grade in the Kiwanis B last week. And so we congratulate her for that special win. And just both of them for competing and doing that for us. And then, let's see.
You have the Little Knights.
Yes, thank you, sir. Little Knights, we have hard to believe, I think that this finishing up our 4th year of Little Knights preschool this year. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And about a year into the journey, we pursued the Paths to Quality designation for programs and allowing us to provide funding opportunities that come with a Paths to Quality recognition. And really, Paths to Quality, we've talked about that at board meetings before, but just a recognition of your program that they are maintaining or exceeding certain levels of child care, education, and just care in general in regards to staffing, the training, and the requirements. And so we did that 2 years ago, but then just here in the last couple of weeks, we were rated again and maintained our level 3 status. So that entailed a ton of documentation just for staffing and things that are going on in the classroom and things like that. And so very proud of our staff, Mrs. Drake, our preschool teacher, and then her assistants, Mrs. Carell and Ms. Arwood, and then also Mrs. Wright, special education teacher. So they were all a part of that, and so we're proud of that. And registration, we are underway for next school year, and looking good there. So I'm excited to see what the next year of preschool brings for our Little Knights programs. And then wanted to, I don't think the robotic season is still going to be happening when I come the next time. And so I wanted to just share a little bit. We're not finished yet. It just went away. So, robotics this year with COVID, everything else is changing, and that did too. And instead of going to the 4 or 5 competitions throughout the year where you've got 30 to 40 schools competing, we decided to form a league of robotics teams. And so Southwood Elementary's 4 teams, and then also Sharp Creek Elementary and St. Bernard Elementary and Metro North Elementary. They are getting together on Friday nights at Southwood Elementary and competing. There's 12 teams in all. And we've got 1 more week of competition, and then the final week of competition. We've got 2, but the final week is like our finals, like you would have at a regular event. And so through 3 competitions so far, out of the 12 placings, our robotics teams, 4 teams are in the top 6 spots both in the teamwork challenges and in the skills challenges. And so, kids have been great. Our coaches, Mrs. Tyson and Mrs. Schmidt and Mr. Wright, leading that this year. And so we're excited about robotics. Not sure what we're doing for the state tournament yet. Have heard that that's going to be all virtual, and it will just be the skills competition part of robotics. And so still kind of seeing what that's going to look like for us as far as robotics goes. But very proud of our team, and it's good to have just, good to get together, with those other teams on Friday nights there at Southwood Elementary. And then the last thing that I'll just mention, every year our yearbook cover, part of our package, we can have a custom yearbook cover front and back. And so Mrs. Tyson, art teacher, kind of steers the kids, 5th and 6th graders have the opportunity to design. 6th graders do the front cover and 5th graders do the back. And she has, dozens of submissions. And then what she does is narrow it down to things that are kind of our finalists. And then she lets me, with my artistic eye, be the final judge. Mm-hmm. So with COVID kind of being, a prevalent, a topic of discussion, of course, for everything, we did kind of a COVID theme. And so I've got here is our cover. Avery Henderson did that, and so all 6th graders did a self-portrait. And so and that's actually, if I were to do a self-portrait, you would not recognize me, but if Avery were here with us, you could definitely see the resemblance there. And then our back cover, 5th grader Miss Ella Cunningham designed that. And so we've got some hand sanitizer. And then, I didn't share this with Avery's, but just some words that go along with the year and the experience. Mask, family, global. She threw in some activities: hiking, movies, drawing, home, virus, pandemic. And so very proud of our student artists and their contributions to our 2020-21 yearbook.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Boone.
Thank you.
A lot of things going on there. All right, Mr. Snyder, looks like you have several things you'd like to share.
Yeah, I know last board meeting I wasn't here, but we had some academic with Emma Brainerd and some artistic with all our art students that got recognized. This time, since we're ending some winter sports season, we have some pretty cool recognitions for some kids. First of all, our varsity girls basketball team won the TRC outright this year, and I believe that's either a share or outright 4 times in a row. And that's a huge accomplishment for the seniors to win that 4 in a row. And then they also have won the sectional now 3 times and are going to the Westdale Regional this Saturday, so we wish them luck. And the next one goes along with basketball too. Emma Hoover and Kirsten Stout just yesterday signed their letters of intent to continue their education and basketball at Trine University. So those 2 off of that team. So there's 3 college players already out of the senior girls that are going on with scholarships and things. So that's pretty special for a school our size on one team to have that many, and probably some still in progress that are making decisions. I want to thank Mr. Ed Shinnefield. This is his, even though he's a Southwood grad, we didn't hold that against him. But he did a great job stepping up. He retired from the military, saw that we had a wrestling position open, and we talked to him, and he just has done an awesome job. He is great with the kids. The kids have loved the work. He's helped coach college before, and of course he's done a little bit of wrestling in and out of life, different parts of his life. And he was great. We were looking for somebody. We didn't know who. And Ed stepped up and was interested, and he has just been a great coach from everything I've heard this year. And they placed 7th as a team in the TRC. They had wrestlers win at sectional and qualify for regional. Those seniors that went to regional were Ethan Galbraith, Logan Cox, Micah Higgins, and they were all seniors, and then junior Jaden Goshert. And then out of that regional, we have 2 wrestlers going to semi-state on Saturday. And that would be Jaden Goshert as a junior and Micah Higgins senior. So we're really proud of those 2 guys, in addition to our Lady Norse basketball team. And then we also want to congratulate Grant Dale. He won the TRC championship for swimming in the 50 free and in the 100 backstroke, both events. And then he was able to set a new TRC record in the backstroke because he beat his own time from last year. So Grant did an awesome job swimming this year and representing Northfield. So between the wrestling and the swimming and the basketball, we still have kids that have opportunities to move on even beyond this week, so we wish them luck.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. And there's a few more. Of course, we have a couple principals come. And Mr. McGibbon, I don't know if you want to share, if you had anything, or you just...
I didn't have anything.
Okay, you're just observing tonight, so... Yeah. All right, so Mr. McDaniel, he mentioned this is for both Southwood and Northfield. Both Northfield High School and Southwood High School received an IHSAA exemplary behavior notification. He said, I want to report to the IHSAA and the respective schools that both teams played hard and with great sportsmanship in the first round of the girls' sectional play. It is great to work for both teams and exhibit great sportsmanship in tournament play, and that's from official Justin Paul. And moving down here, Mr. Martin at Sharp Creek, want to congratulate 5th grader Colin Beal, who was the winner of the Wabash County Journal-Gazette Spelling Bee and Kiwanis Spelling Bee, which actually Mr. Boone also mentioned for Southwood. So great job, Colin, and good luck as you move on to the next competition level. And then we have, I think, one more. Mrs. Moore at Metro North Elementary says, since November 10th, our Metro North 3rd graders have been participating in the Indiana's Read to the Final Four, a program sponsored by the NCAA and Indiana Sports Corporation that encourages and inspires 3rd graders across our state to read. The main event is engaging bracketing reading competition using Lion. The Read to the Final Four bracket was released this morning, recognizing the top 64 schools. With over 300 schools participating, Metro North was proud to see that our 3rd graders were not only in the top 68 schools across the state, but our 45,558 minutes of reading earned us the number 8 seed. So congratulations to Metro North for all of their reading. So, Mr. Daisy, I believe that's all the recognitions for tonight.
All right, so we'll move on to the consent agenda items. I need a motion and second for the approval of our minutes from the last meeting on January 26th.
I move to accept.
Second. We have a motion and second to approve the minutes from our last meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, moving on is claims.
I have no questions, if no one else does, I move to approve. Todd?
I'll second that.
Motion and second to approve claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Payroll. Looks like a fairly normal one.
We'll start seeing on the future ones, next couple, probably some ECA stuff as winter sports is ending.
I move to approve the payroll.
Second.
Motion and second to approve payroll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Financial summary.
This one doesn't show up, but I don't know if yours does. I put a little red mark
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
on that self-insurance.
Nice to see that.
Yes, it does.
Any questions on?
personnel, kind of a short list under personnel. Resignations, Tricia Barton, Cook, Sharp Creek Elementary, and Idris Kren, South bus driver. And then Southwood Spring coaches, junior high track for Tanya Boone, Jeff Hobson, Nick Perlick. High school track assistant, Larry Vaughn. David March, high school track assistant, Carrie Hamill. Logan Paris, high school track assistants, and Heather Hayden, high school track head coach. Clay Target league coaches, we're gonna start that up again. Jeff Springer, Steve Heininger, and Donald Peterson are all listed for Clay Target league coaches.
And I just want to make one note. The one that's highlighted, it's really a retirement. Idris is retiring, so we just want to really thank her for her service. She's done it many years. Wanted to continue on, but circumstances prevented some of that. So just thank her for her many years of service. Usually when they retire, we ask them to find a replacement. She hasn't yet. So anybody in the room that's interested, you can see Melissa Ball.
She found you.
Oh, yeah. So see Melissa Ball, and we can continue to look at hiring more bus drivers. I think that's across the state of Indiana and across our nation. So we are looking at other types of incentives and different things like that because it's obviously much needed so we can get our children to our schools.
Mike, what do you guess how long?
I was gonna-
5 years, because I know Amber, I was a bus driver for Amber growing up.
Yeah, we can't talk about ages here.
Long time.
I'll find out, get that, I was gonna do that and I did not, so. But, thank her for all her service and always been pleasant and, being a safe driver, which is very good.
I'll move to approve HR.
Second.
Motion and second to approve HR, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Alright. Heartland Career Center report,
None tonight.
nothing, alright. Superintendent's report, Mr. Keith Faber.
Yeah, just a couple of things here real quickly. First of all, just to let you know, we unfortunately continue to talk about the coronavirus and our queue list though, but today Tim runs that every day for us and I put it on a little chart. But it's nice to see how, if we do a line graph or however we do a bar graph, but anyway, today was only 7 students. So again, just a reminder, when we say 7 students, that would be either positive students that have a positive case, those that have been close contacts, those that are close contacts from a home situation, so school and home, and the fourth way would obviously be those that have COVID-like symptoms. So only 7 in the whole district. That's tremendous. That's good. As far as active cases right now, we have 1 staff and 2 students. And as you know, the new guidance as far as the quarantine process, we have initiated that. That started really Monday, but we weren't in school Monday, so it starts Tuesday. So again, wearing masks, staying at least 3 feet apart. And if it happens in the classroom where there's a positive and it's a close contact, we do not have to quarantine, and that's based on the new guidelines from the Indiana State Department of Health. So we're glad that they looked at some of that data that we've continued to give to them to be able to follow through with that. That could always change back and do something different, but right now it's good. Heard some rumors that our county might be even going lower tomorrow at noon when that data comes out. So we've been very fortunate in Wabash County. Just to mention, there's a lot of lobbying groups, there's a lot of advocacy groups when we talk about legislation. The big bill out there right now, House Bill 1005, there's a lot of things in that doesn't really favor public education. And there are some school boards that actually have written resolutions or written letters. That's something that we can do too, but we have in the past, I've shared that with you, but we are a part of a group that's an advocacy group that's down lobbying for some of these issues, and that's just one that really could, it's costing a lot of money that can be taken away from public education, but we're still watching a lot of different things with legislation. So just wanted to mention that. If you want to talk to me more about that later, you can, but it's House Bill 1005. And that's all I have for tonight.
Curriculum report, Mr. Drake.
First, in the Facebook comments, Cheryl Rozier piped in and said that Idris has been driving for 30 plus years. 30 plus years.
Oh, my apologies, I skipped the public comment agenda items only part, so we,
And several people congratulated Northfield, and they got lots of hearts. I don't really know how to translate that.
Things they love, Joe.
Yeah. Jay got a lot of love.
When you're winning, you get a lot of love, right?
That's right, that's right. I did want to share with the board our NWA data. And so what you're looking at is a student's growth from when they first came to school in August to January. And the target is in the diamonds. And NWA, of course, is a nationwide exam. And so you're talking about a large population of students that put that together. And so essentially, what they'll do is they'll take a student where they scored in August, and they'll say, generally speaking, they should grow X number of points between August and January. And so you can see there in math, like look at the third grade there. The third grade in math, a typical student would have grown about 2 points in their score. And so generally speaking in math, we've done very well in that growth. In reading, again, we've done very well with that growth. We see a little dip with the second grade, and so principals are made aware of that, the teachers are made aware of that, and they'll work on an individual basis to bring those up. But as I look at it from a district level, I feel like the growth we're seeing with students that we have is very, very strong. Obviously, we don't want to be just at the 50th percentile, so we would like to see that growth be above all those diamonds. And that includes students who come at us from the bottom end of the academic scale, who kind of struggle in school, and the high end kids. It factors all of those in. So I feel like if you were going to ask and press me as to why we've done so well, it's because we've had so many kids in school. Having them there with the teachers, with the Title I services, with all of that support, really makes a huge difference. And so, anyway, that's generally what you see there. I'm open for any questions or anything more you want to learn about that. So we'll run that report again in the spring, and then we'll compare. We compare from years past. We compare all across those different things, and use that to gauge our programming and our plans. But again, I feel like our growth from the fall to the winter has been very good, especially in this challenging year.
So you'll do that 3 times?
Yep, we do it 3 times, and you might notice there's some funky grades in there. NWA has a K to 2 test and a 3 to 5 test, like it just kind of looks weird. But yeah, we'll run that 3 times in grades K through 6.
Has there been any correlation with like certain grade level, like if second grade has had more quarantined or left out because?
That is a great question. We have some of that data, and actually second grade has been one of the ones with a lot of virtual students. And virtuals are students who chose to stay home and then come back. And so you got to think, let's just choose a second grader there. Like in the spring, they were quarantined because we closed down in March, right? So they missed the second part of their first grade year. And if they were virtual this fall, then they missed the fall instruction. So
Yeah, that's a good question because we talked about that. But I want to remind you though too, and Mr. Drake, we've said this before, but right now of our traditional students, there are 26 students that are virtual. And in this area, that's very, very low. Now we had 118 from the very beginning. So when you talk about those second grades, so hopefully we'll see that bump up because now most of those students are back in school.
Do you see a drop off in the ones that do virtual? How do they do?
We do not, if they stay virtual, we did not bring them into test.
Okay.
And so what you'll see there are only kids that are here with us for the testing. But it doesn't hit the quarantine kids, right? And so, yeah.
thank you. Any other questions for me before we move on? All right, we'll move on to new business. We have a recommendation to approve the continuation of using the Food to School Purchasing Cooperative for 2021-2022. And I'll let you speak to that.
I'll let He was gonna go ahead and read that.
Yeah, let's read every page, word for word. We've been a part of the Food to School Co-op for the third year now. This is just a standard. We have to approve those vendors, such as the HPS, the Prairie Farms, and the Aunt Millie's Bakery, as those are what the co-op has decided to purchase from. And so this is just a yearly agreement then that we do typically renewal every year based off the recommendations from the co-op. And you can see how many schools are part of the co-op, which gives us a lot of buying power with those types of numbers. On the last page, which is the page that you'll sign, it just kind of gives you a breakdown of what is involved there. You don't have to go through every single page, but it just gives you a little bit of background on that last page, the signed page. And so our recommendation would be to continue purchasing with the Food to School Cooperative.
I'm just curious on that, do they set the menus? Who sets the menu?
Our food service director.
So then they order from that?
Our food service director and cafeteria managers order from that. Yep.
And it's generally cheaper than us having to go out and just find a vendor.
I move to approve food to school purchase.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the recommendation to keep using Food to School Purchasing Cooperative for next year. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Also, under new business, recommendation to approve a field trip to Swiss Valley Ski Resort in Jones, Michigan for North Field Advanced PE class on February 22nd.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to approve a field trip to Swiss Valley for Northfield. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have no unfinished business or board policy. This time I will stop over the public comment since it sounds like we are still able to Facebook Live, and so if there's anybody.
Manually?
Your arm getting tired?
No, got arrested.
We'll just start calling you Tripod.
Yeah. That could go a bad way.
Let me change topics. Debbie Smith says, she says to Northfield, way to go Northfield girls, so proud of you. Way to go boys in wrestling and swimming, so proud of all of our schools. Excuse me. And she says Jay is a super principal and deserves the kudos.
Yeah, right.
And that's all the comments we have.
Okay. So we'll move on. Items from board members. All right, we're adjourned then.
As far as I know, I did not